Welcome to Chamber Talk. We've got a great show for you today. Very excited to have Maryalice Morro with me. Maryalice, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
We're going to cover two roles today. We're going to talk about the VA hospital a little bit, some of the great work going on there, and then you are also a Chamber board member. And we've had a lot of great discussions lately in our board meetings and a lot of great things going on at the Chamber. So we're going to dive into just a little bit of that. But first off, give me an update. I ride by a lot of mornings and I'm seeing walls being built and all sorts of construction going on. So let's have an update.
Yeah, thanks. It's the big dig right now. As you may be aware, we have about $40 million in active construction going on this year at the VA on our Dublin campus. Some of it is exciting. We're building a brand new mental health outpatient clinic on our front lawn. That's the cinder block walls that you see going up very quickly. On the other side, we're finally paving the beautiful front lawn to add more parking. We have, as we've grown and expanded over the years, we've had some limited parking. Some of that it has to go with the construction projects that we're adding as well. So we've also put a few small parking lots in the back part of the campus. One building, I believe, is already down and the other one's coming down. We have 4 buildings that had seen better days on our campus. 2 of them are coming down to create more parking and possibly move the road in anticipation of a future project that may or may not get funded at this point. We're expanding our 10th wing, which is sort of on the back right side of the campus. That's our memory care unit, and the standard of care is single room. So we're adding 18 rooms to that, but really not that we're adding 18 additional opportunities for veterans. They're in double rooms right now. And so as the standard of care changes, we want to make sure that we meet that quality of care, and they should be single rooms for folks on our memory care unit. So you see a big addition going on to the end of that particular wing. And then what I call the non-sexy stuff we're replacing the water tower, the chiller, HVAC units in all the hallways that connect the 20 buildings that comprise the Carl Vinson VA Medical Center on the Dublin campus, and a few other infrastructure projects to go with that, to include our sterilization unit. We're redoing that. So it's a lot of moving parts. I caution anyone that comes to our campus to be very cautious and really go slowly as they drive through, because we have road closures that are different on any given day, and there's just an awful lot of moving parts. But we're very excited. It means progress. Secretary Shulkin talks about modernization of the VA, and I think we're probably front and center on that as all of these projects happen to come together this year and into next. So there'll be 2 very busy years. And what I love about it for Dublin and Lawrence County is the economic opportunity that it presents to the community with all of the contractors that are on our campus working. They need places to stay, they eat in our restaurants, they go to our stores, et cetera. So it's a great boon for the county and the city as well. So
what are we talking when just this phase of construction and this mental health center opens, total employment at the VA?
Yeah, so we're steady at about 1,350 employees.
Wow.
And that includes my 6 outlying clinics. So I have a clinic in Brunswick, in Albany, in Tifton, Macon, Milledgeville, and Perry. We're building a new clinic in Macon. That should come to fruition in the end of January. And so I don't anticipate a huge growth in employees, but a lot of our employees are retirement eligible. So the turnover rate is projected to be pretty regular for the next 5 to 10 years. So while we may not increase the total number, will be, we hire probably at least 50 a year, if not more, and as that cycle churns.
Right. Maryalice, you guys have, in some aspects, your own little city.
We do.
Almost in that block area there.
Yeah.
On any given day, with employees, with veterans, any idea how many people at one given time are on site there?
Yeah, a couple of thousand a day.
I would think so too.
Yeah,
so,
between the patients and
and
their family members and our staff.
So a huge economic engine for Lawrence County.
Yeah,
here.
and we bring a lot of our veterans from our outlying clinics. So our outlying clinics are just small. They do outpatient mental health and ambulatory care, primary care. So if they need surgery or if they need x-rays and things like that, we often bring them to Dublin. So some people come for the day and spend the day in the area.
So talk to me a little bit about workforce. You mentioned 1,300 employees throughout the organization.
Right.
where you having any struggles with particular areas, and what type of jobs are you needing to fill?
Right. So, I ask myself that question every day. We always have gaps in our providers, of course. As primary care, the entire country suffers from a insufficient number of primary care providers. It's not just a VA problem, it's nationwide. When you get into the rural communities, it's a little bit more difficult. We are very much looking forward to our partnerships that we have with Mercer University, as well as some of the residencies in the Macon area, to broaden the scope of men and women that we train in our VA walls. Right now we have a pharmacy residency that has resulted in some really good hires for people that have trained through our program, and we're looking to use those academic affiliations and training opportunities to recruit brand new physicians as they're freshly minted out of their residency programs that have trained within our walls. Same with nursing, et cetera. So it's the top level professions that we struggle with: our psychiatrists, our psychologists, our nurses, our physicians. Pharmacy we do pretty well because of the residency program. It's a good feeder into the organization. And even our administrative staff, it's a high turnover. The entry level positions are high turnover positions. People want to try to get their foot in the door, and they'll take those positions, but they have a lot more to offer. And so once they're in the system, it's easier for them to take other jobs that are available, not just in Dublin, but in other VAs as well. So it's a fairly mobile workforce.
Okay.
And if we get them for 3 or 4 years, I think that's a good thing before they move on. We don't have some of the job growth opportunities that a larger VA, such as Atlanta, Charleston, would have, because they're affiliated with large medical centers. They have big research programs and a lot more opportunities. So in a small place where we do primarily ambulatory care, some of those opportunities don't exist in our organization, but there's still plenty of room for growth. So the struggle for the licensed providers is really our biggest wish list all the time. And on any given day, we have probably a couple hundred vacancies. But then you have to ask yourself, if you have that many vacancies, do you really need them? So always looking to right-size the workforce. Things change, things get automated. So.
And you guys need everything from that skilled level, like you said, the high end, to people probably to work in the kitchen, to janitorial services.
Absolutely, IT.
How would someone in Lawrence County or anywhere else that may be watching the show today, if they were interested in working for the VA hospital?
USAjobs.com.
USAjobs.com.
Yes, all federal jobs are posted on USAjobs.com, and you have to use that automated thing. If you're not connected to the internet or don't have the opportunity to connect to the internet, you can always drop your resume off in our HR department, which is on the sixth wing of on the first floor of the sixth wing of the hospital, and drop it off and apply.
Okay. So folks can actually
really
bring
online.
a resume, but the preferred way to do that, and it's easier for you and for them, would be
yes, it's an automated HR system. Jobs.
USAjobs.com.
And you can narrow your focus to Dublin or Georgia.
Fantastic.
Yes.
And with that conversation pertaining to workforce, we're going to take a short commercial break.
Okay.
And when we come back, we're going to switch roles a little bit. We're going to put your chamber hat on and chamber board, and we're going to talk about some of the initiatives and things going on at the chamber, hopefully to help address those workforce needs. So we'll be right back.
Thank you.
Since the early 1980s, Century 21 Durden Carnegie has proudly served the community's best interest and has grown to consecutively be the #1 realtor in Dublin and Lawrence County. And broker George Durden is proud of his team of agents and recognizes Jody Tanner, Jim Jarrett, Pam Tillery, David Deeves, Beverly Forbes, Ann Adams, Raina Deverly, Betty Helton, Charlene Brantley, Ruth Watson, Jay Brantley, Charlene Lamp, Yvonne Robertson, and Karen Whitmer. All part of the team of Century 21 Durden Carnegie. And broker George Durden invites you to allow his team to serve you today. If you're buying or selling your home or commercial property, call Century 21 Durden Carnegie. And thank you to the community for allowing Century 21 Durden Carnegie to serve you for more than 35 years.
The temperature is rising and summer is here. Why not make a big splash with your family and friends this summer with a pool from Georgia Pools? A relaxed and a luxurious feeling of a hot tub or sauna. Georgia Pools has a large selection of pool chemicals and accessories from name brands like Polaris, Aquabot, Pro Team Chemicals, and more. Already have a pool and need a new liner? Give Georgia Pools a call today at 478-275-3607 or stop in and visit their showroom at 1201 Hillcrest Parkway, Dublin, Georgia. Georgia Pools, Middle Georgia's largest above-ground pool dealer. Financing is available.
Welcome back to the show, Maryalice. Again, thank you for joining us. Workforce.
Yes.
We were talking about a little bit right before the break, and that's tough. It's tough not just here, it's tough all throughout the United States. We had a luncheon earlier this week with the HR Association, and Georgia Department of Labor Commissioner Mark Butler was there. He stated that we had currently, this week, 350 jobs available in Lawrence County.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you hear? What are some of the difficulties when you're trying to recruit at the VA hospital?
Sure. So if we're recruiting people from outside the local area, especially for our clinicians and our nurses, some of the struggles we have are places to live, activities, school system, and we have an awful lot of our staff that choose to live in Warner Robins, in the Macon area, and even the Atlanta area, which is quite a commute. And we have, if you drive in our circle, our front circle, you'll see 10 or more rideshare vans for those employees that choose to live externally. And most of it is because of the housing opportunities, the school system for those with young children, and just basically things to do afterwards. From my own perspective, and as a former servicewoman with a culture of fitness, I think that there's not enough opportunities to be fit in this area. So not enough, you can't even walk to a lot of places because there's not enough sidewalks. It would be great to have dedicated bike lanes and trails. We struggle with accidents on the roads, and including bikers, so a lot of people don't feel safe getting out and riding on some of our back roads, even though they're great places to ride. And then, plenty of fitness centers, but not coordinated. Today, ironically, we are having a farewell session for 14 of our veterans that are heading off to the wheelchair games in Cincinnati.
Oh, wow.
And that's all the adaptive sports programs. YMCAs around the country partner with the VA through federal grants that help build those adaptive sports programs.
Say that one more time.
Yes, YMCAs in the country partner
We'll
with
partner with
VAs
the VA.
across the
So
country.
federal money to assist.
With the adaptive sports programs. Yeah, so that would be, we do a lot of stuff out in our little gym in the hospital or on the back lawn to get our veterans ready to go and compete in these games. And they're life-changing events for these veterans. They compete in bocce ball and bowling. In fact, one of our veterans from Albany just finished training with the U.S. team to look and see if he would be capable of participating on the U.S. Paralympic team. That's
Wow.
how important these games are. And they're, for someone that could be paralyzed from the neck down or from the shoulders down, it's life-changing.
Let me ask you, and going on because the YMCA.
Yeah.
I've had some talks with some folks in city leadership roles
Yeah.
and recreation department leadership and different folks around here.
Right.
It's been, I think, maybe some conversations at the most,
Sure.
but I love to hear that there could be some federal assistance with that. If there were federal assistance with the YMCA, would this be something that would be on the grounds at the VA? Would it be something
No,
placed
be at the
somewhere
Y.
else in the community?
It would be at the Y. So what happens is there's rural grant money available or federal grant money available. It's not to build the Y. It's to create adaptive sports programs within the footprint of the YMCA because they have pools, they have huge areas for classes and things
Right.
like that, and benefits not just veterans, but it benefits the community
So
as
if
well.
we could build a Y somewhere in
Yes.
Dublin,
Correct.
Lawrence County,
Yeah.
and then do some public-private partnerships and things such as that. In addition to that, there could be some federal funding to assist
Yeah.
with making this
Yeah,
happen.
like right now we partner with Riverside, with the Riverside Golf Course for adaptive sports and golfing, and they have I can't remember his name, but a gentleman that works with us to help some of the veterans that choose
Okay.
to swing a golf club and do that in the adaptive sports realm. So there's opportunities, but I think we could expand them
I think
greatly.
that would be-
also really benefit the community.
Absolutely.
And I think Ys are great because they bridge all socioeconomic demographics, old, young, rich, poor.
Right.
It's a little bit of something for everyone, and it's a great community. It's a great
Sure.
community center to have.
Basketball, weight training,
volleyball, swimming,
pools, any
lifeguard.
pretty much anything
Yeah.
active.
Right, and then opportunities for events. reading.
Sure.
Different community events can be held there as well.
Self-defense classes, all sorts of
Correct.
things at a Y.
Yeah,
So-
I think Lawrence County would be a great place to put one. I think there's enough people that
Right.
would.
Well, and I heard you mention earlier in one of your comments these buses or vans that you're having. So you're actually having buses or van loads of people on a daily basis that are communicating here. These are not patients. These are
These are
people
my staff.
working here.
Employees.
And
yeah, they
they're
ride
living
share. They live
in-
far away.
So there's that many
Yeah,
coming here that are
Yeah,
working
quite a
here
few.
that don't live here.
correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And so from a chamber, put your chamber hat on
Yeah.
now and talk to me a little bit about that, things
Right.
that we need to be working on.
Right. So
to address
housing,
that.
nice, communities that I think the rental market is probably the biggest gap that we have. I know when I came here, I was very fortunate to find a place to rent, but there's not that much available on the rental market in a house type
Right,
thing as well.
right.
Because again, our population is fairly mobile because it's a federal system and people jump from place to place as they
Sure.
build and develop their careers. Don't necessarily stay in the same VA medical center, especially for the clinicians. They're going to start here and build their career and increase the scope. In a small place like Dublin, it's not going to offer everything that they want, so they may work for a couple years and move on. The other thing I think, and in the school system, there's not, and not just the school system, but the community, the transportation. There's not any public transportation, and so
Right.
opportunities for both veterans and employees, that may want to live out to come and go, without having to rely on a car or van share. It'd be great to have the rail system come through, or even the grooms to come through Dublin and pick you up for the airport instead of making you drive an hour to Macon.
Right.
And then, I mean, I would think if the business case could be studied, that there would
Some
be enough volume
opportunities there.
to get folks from Dublin to the airport, from Dublin into Atlanta, and connecting those rail systems, and to Savannah to Atlanta.
Sure.
But also after school opportunities for the children. If you can't get a ride, you can't necessarily participate in sports, in music, in after school activities. How are these children going to get home? It's unsafe for them to walk. Our county's large, so in the counties they come from the four corners, and it maybe not be effective to walk 5 or 10 miles to school or back. Can be done, but so how can we offer other opportunities so that everyone has those opportunities that are available in the school system, and for employees that maybe choose to live a little further out that want to
Right.
use transportation, public transportation.
So
Doesn't
some
have to be
transportation.
big buses, but maybe the
Right,
smaller buses.
Right, and any sort of,
Yeah.
of transportation here, not only for schools, for elderly folks. We have a very large demographic of folks here. I mentioned earlier 350 jobs. In that same meeting, we were told that there were over 1,000 people here that could work.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, they're not working.
Right.
And sometimes the sole issue there is transportation.
Right.
The folks would go to work, they can pass a drug test, but they just don't have a way to get to work.
Right.
So some transportation
Right.
of some sort.
Yep, and I have to
would
give a
be
shout out to
something
the
like this.
EGB cab, the $5 cab. They're really doing a heck of a
Fantastic,
job, and
right.
that's a great service to and our veterans use that quite a bit too. So, they come from the rural areas into us, and they struggle with transportation too. Not all of them are eligible for the veteran transportation services. So.
Right. And you mentioned schools, and I want to say again, hope everybody's having a great summer and enjoying the time out. School's about to start back
Yeah.
up. I know they're already planning and having all their meetings. But one thing, Maryalice, we talk about it at chamber board
Mm-hmm.
meetings from time to time. Matter of fact, we talked about it a little bit recently, and it's that cloud kind of hanging over us is consolidation of our schools here.
Yeah.
And I think something that we've mentioned, and I would like to see maybe a blue ribbon panel put together of community leaders here, those that are adamantly opposed to schools consolidating, those that are just as adamant about
Right.
they're in favor, and maybe even some folks who they just hadn't quite made up their mind.
Yeah.
But a fact-finding group that would put together a study and then present to the community, maybe some community roundtable, town hall type meetings, to present that information. But let's have some well-informed decisions and information about this. There's so many things out there today that you hear that, well, if it happened, this would happen, and this could happen, and we really need facts.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that's a great idea, and there's always opportunities to improve. If a consolidation would bring economies of scale that could perhaps provide after-school buses, wouldn't that be a great thing? And I don't know the answer either, but I think it's certainly worth looking at. In the VA, we're constantly looking at consolidating. Do we have the right footprint? Do we have the right services available? Should we be doing this? Shouldn't we be doing that?
Right.
Where do we partner with the community? What should we produce in-house? And so I think it's just good business, and we owe it to the constituency that we serve to always be looking and thinking and changing as times change and needs change and demographics change. So yeah, I think that would be a great idea.
And I think maybe you're mentioning times changing, things change, people change. I know that's not what we've always done before. That's not what we did. But yeah, if we're spending all of our time looking back, then we're certainly not making progress, and we're not going to have a clear path forward. You and I think, both agree. I don't know any more than you do if a total consolidation of schools is the best thing for Lawrence County. But we certainly agree that city and county working together is definitely going to profit everyone more than us working separately.
Correct. Together we're usually always stronger.
Right.
Yeah.
And I do know there are some great collaborative efforts with the CTAE programs and different things from the meetings. I do want to say that as a chamber, and make sure folks understand, we hear people sometimes, we had someone unfortunately the other day, they dropped their chamber membership because they said, well, we're not using the chamber and we're not seeing value there. And I want to make sure people understand what we're doing on a daily basis. While folks are working in their business, we're working for their business. We don't just attend school board meetings and city council meetings and things, but we actually bring those folks together sometimes to meet with them to say, hey, what are we doing about this, and how are we going to address these issues? You have 1,300 employees. Where are you going to get them from? You hope they're going to live and work and play and spend their money right here in Dublin and Lawrence County. And the chamber is working hard every day to make sure we have the quality of life amenities here so that you would
And
have
we
those
want the
folks.
sons and daughters of our
Sure.
citizens to stay, to want to stay, to want to invest in the community, make it better for their families when they decide to start having families. And it's a great place to live.
It is,
really
and
is.
our quality of life here is hard to match.
Correct.
And I want to talk about that a little bit with the young folks. We need to take one more quick commercial break,
All right.
and we'll get into a little bit of discussion about our younger generation.
Very
We'll be
good.
right back.
Join Piggly Wiggly in the celebration of our 100th anniversary, and the celebration is spreading throughout our community with a renewed pride in our hometown grocer, Piggly Wiggly. 100 years of great product and great customer service. Piggly Wiggly is where you'll find everything from the freshest in produce to 100% certified Angus beef, the only certified Angus beef dealer in Lawrence County. Piggly Wiggly, down home, down the street. Thanks for joining us in our 100th anniversary celebration.
Journey where this path may lead, and live as big as giants. Summer sun and feeling free, sparkle just like diamonds. Let your summer guide you. Let your summer guide you on the way, on the way. Let your summer guide you on the way, on the way. Let your summer guide you.
See Dublin Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram at 2050 Highway 441 South in Dublin. Call 272-3500, 1-800-GO-DODGE, or log on to dublinchrysler.com.
Welcome back. Maryalice, we were talking right before break about young folks. Schools working together. We also have Middle Georgia State University here. We have Georgia Military College. We have the Oconee Fall Line Technical College. So a lot of resources. Available. And I think, again, partnering all those folks together and even getting down into our elementary schools and bringing programs to those schools. Principal for a day, students in business, teachers in business, but putting people together, allowing you the opportunity to go to a high school, elementary school, middle school, and spend the day with a principal and see what they're facing on a daily basis to better understand, and then also sharing some business practices and struggles that you guys, and what do you need? What do you need from the school?
Yeah, I need the
to
elementary
send
school
people to work for you.
Need them to get them into higher education. And so how do we do that as a business community? How do we partner with our schools to provide those opportunities and glimpses into various career fields, et cetera? And we have our summer volunteer program at the VA, so we take the high school students that work with us and volunteer all summer long to get an idea of what some of the job professions
Right.
are. But I think that greater conversation that we were talking about between the elementary school system and the higher ed would really be beneficial to the community.
And we need a lot more people willing to step up and
Yeah.
step in,
Yeah.
rather than just sitting around and chattering about, well, you know, we could do this better, and they need to know, they don't, it's us.
Mm-hmm.
We all, we live here, we work here, we play here, and we're going to have to all do our part, especially with the education, because we do not have a trained, skilled, ready workforce. And unfortunately, all of the statistics and everything you read and study today, this is a nationwide epidemic. Matter of fact, it's worldwide. We had a gentleman from Germany sitting in the HR meeting the other day, said, oh yeah, we're facing the same thing.
Yeah.
So we have got to get to work and prepare our workforce.
But we want to keep our talent in our own
And-
community as well, and
certainly,
not have
we
them
want to draw
leave us.
others.
Right.
But to do that, we're going to have to do the things that we talked about earlier: bike paths, apartments, rental, possibilities, new houses.
Yeah.
All of those sorts of things. And I do hear, and I want to say, we got a lot of great folks in our community. Brian Rogers, Lance Jones, our mayor, city council, county commissioners, everybody's working together. We just want to encourage them to continue
Right.
in their efforts, and certainly as a chamber and VA hospital, we want to partner with them to
Absolutely.
be successful.
Yeah.
Any closing remarks you'd like to share?
No, thanks for the opportunity. It's a great place to be in Dublin, Lawrence County.
Hey, thank you again for being on the
Thank
show.
you.
Thank you for joining us. As always, we want to remind you that it is a great day for business in Dublin, Lawrence County.